Hello and welcome to the Feminine Vitae podcast. In this series, we're speaking to women sharing their experiences with different reproductive health conditions. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Hi. If you want to just start off by giving us a quick bio of yourself so we can get to know you a bit better, just your name, your age and your occupation.
Yeah, I'm Kate. I'm 38. I'm married. I'm a specialist fertility practitioner nurse. I've worked in the area of fertility for 8 years. I'm a dog lover and I try to run to basically keep my weight down and so I can eat lots of cake, really. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So how long were you trying to conceive for, and what obstacles did you face that prevented you from conceiving naturally?
We began to try for a family in 2013. Initially, the biggest obstacle was that I didn't have regular periods at all, and I went on investigations to find out why. I then used medication to induce periods and tried ovulation induction cycles, which weren't successful, and I didn't respond to at all. I was then referred for IVF treatment, and I found out that my ovarian reserve was very, very low. I was probably about 33, 34 at that point. I tried 2 cycles using my own egg. First cycle was I was able to go through, had an egg collection, but was unsuccessful. The second cycle was abandoned due to no response at all.
This process that you were going through, when you were going through this, how was it affecting your quality of life and your everyday life?
You don't think it will affect your quality of life because you kind of, your brain rationales it out and says, oh well, it's just a few scans, it's just, some medication, a couple of appointments here and there, but it actually has a huge effect on your life. It's almost like being on a roller coaster. One minute you're heading up the roller coaster and you're plating, and could this cycle be the one that works, and could this be the one for us? And then the next minute you're kind of falling down the roller coaster because you've either not responded how you thought you would, or you've had an unsuccessful cycle. And then you've got all the other factors, the age that we're in, that all of our friends and circle are getting married and having children, and you're kind of sort of in limbo in a way, really.
Yeah, I imagine that must have been really difficult to see people around you sort of having success with things like that, and I don't know, feeling sort of out of the loop.
You do feel, I found the isolation the most difficult thing. For me, I suppose it was a little bit harder because I had knowledge from my area of work. So then I thought, well, you kind of know all the clinical side, so you shouldn't really ask for any help or support. So, you've just got to get on with it. So I think that made it worse from my point of view, that I just kind of didn't really talk to anyone initially, to be honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said that you were working in that sector, but that almost sort of made it worse. Did it affect your work performance and your plans for the future in that sense?
Actually, in a way, it made me more empathetic to patients when they'd talk about various symptoms, although I never sort of disclosed to them my own history. When they'd say, oh, such and such happened, or I feel like this, I used to think, yeah, I get that. I know how you feel, or I'd be able to pass on tips and things, because sometimes until you've been through something yourself, you can't really wholly experience that, and that's for everything really. So I'd also pass on tips and hints to them. But there were also difficult times. I'd be doing pregnancy scans and congratulating couples on their successful pregnancy and discharging them to their obstetric care, and then thinking, oh, I wish that could be me. Why wasn't it me? It was very much a double-edged sword.
Yeah, because I imagine that kind of environment could be like on a bad day, that could be detrimental for you.
Yeah.
Did it affect any of your plans for the future?
It did massively, because after I had the 2 unsuccessful IVF treatments with my own eggs, then proceeded to have a cycle of egg donation because as I knew the success rates would be much higher. Waited a year to find the right donor, was really, really humbled, overwhelmed, commenced the cycle, and it actually worked, and I became pregnant. First time I'd ever been pregnant. And then sadly I got very, very sick, and was unfortunately had a miscarriage, and was still very, very sick, and got diagnosed with a very rare condition called progesterone sensitivity. So my body's unable to tolerate the hormone progesterone that you need to obviously support an ongoing pregnancy.
That must have been really difficult after going through all of that already and then finding out that you had progesterone sensitivity. I mean, the process of egg donation, how did you find making the decision to go into that?
We didn't do it lightly. We actually took some time completely away to think about it and decide. On a numbers thing, it sounds really, oh well, it's going to be a better success rate. It's going to be far more beneficial, but you've got to be mentally and physically ready to think about the implications and what it means, and basically when you're ready, really.
Yeah. As well, when you were at work, did you get any kind of support with that?
I did. I was really lucky. I used to hear a lot of patients who didn't get a lot of support from their employers. My employers were really good. After everything that had happened, I had open access to counselling. We had an employee assistance programme where I was able to have CBT counselling, and they were really good.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, because a lot of people say that the companies that they've worked for haven't been very supportive.
Oh, the amount of ladies I would see, and they'd be more in a state of what they're going to say to their employers, when, this appointment's running late or I've got to come in at this time, what do I say to my employers? And a lot of them were really unsupportive to them. So I think on that respect, I was really lucky.
That's really good that you're able to get that level of support. So, I mean, in terms of how you help yourself, what kind of routine have you developed to help deal with sort of the process of trying to conceive, and then also your well-being in that period and how the mental, emotional effects leave you?
Since I got quite sick, I used the opportunity to kind of think, well, I need to make some changes, because initially, as I said, I kind of just pushed it to one side, carried on and made myself do everything and anything. Whereas now I'm actually a little bit more kinder to myself and a bit stricter, but it took me a while to adjust to that, because I think people with who are having fertility treatment often blame themselves or think that it's something that they need to try harder at or need to work harder, and you can't change things that easily. So what I tend to do now is, on a work side, I reduce my work hours, so I work 3 to 4 days a week rather than full time. I took up yoga and I took up mindfulness, which was one of the best things I ever did, meditation. If you'd said to me a year ago, "Oh, sit in the room and meditate for 10 minutes," I would have just laughed and said, "Oh, I don't have time for that." But it really just gives you an opportunity just to relax and do nothing and just stop for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like mindfulness has become really popular in the past few years, especially, and a lot of people have said that it's really helped them.
Massively. In my CBT counselling, I learnt breathing exercises because I used to get quite anxious, sort of, "Oh, I've got to go to so-and-so's baby shower," or "so-and-so's coming in with their baby to visit." So I learnt breathing exercises so that I didn't go out feeling very tense and very nervous. So that was definitely something that helped. And exercise, actually. Well, I'm really lucky. I live by the coast, so walks by the sea, runs by the sea, and getting a dog actually really helped because it gave you a reason to get out.
Yeah, and I guess it gives you some company as well when you're going on those walks.
Yeah, so it gave you said to yourself, "I've got to get out, the dog needs a walk, or I've got to go do such and such." Whereas there was a time when I thought, "Well, I don't need to go out." And actually, for your mental health and your well-being, you do need to go out, you do need to socialise.
Getting some fresh air, I think, always seems to help people. Have you ever used any sort of vitamins or supplements to improve your well-being?
I wrote a little list down. At the moment, I take vitamin D and magnesium. Vitamin D because, as we know, a lot of people are low in vitamin D, less time outside, etc. And magnesium, which helps with anxiety and hormonal balance. But when I was actually on my cycles, I also used to take, obviously, folic acid. I also took vitamin E, and I ate things that were high in selenium, like walnuts and things like that, because there was a slight bit of evidence that might help implantation and get things going a little bit more.
And you've sort of continued to use those now?
Yeah, and because they're supplements, you don't need a prescription. They're easy to get hold of.
Yeah, sort of over the counter in health shops. So where do you get other sorts of support from, either online or in person, from your friends or family?
I get a massive support from my husband. He's really good. And also I've got a circle of close friends, sort of 3 to 4 close friends that are really supportive. It's taken me a number of years to sort of open up a little bit more and talk about things. But they are really, really supportive.
That's
And
good to hear.
I'm also online on a couple of groups on Facebook.
Oh, right. How did you find out about the groups?
Some of it was by word of mouth, as I say, patients at work. I don't tend to do the most sort of popular ones like Fertility Friends and stuff like that because I'm a little bit more shy. I tend to just read things, and I like the idea of reading things, knowing that you're not alone. I'm on the Butterfly support group, which is for pregnancy loss and ectopic pregnancy. The Miscarriage Association, I ran the London Marathon in April for them. That was a brilliant distraction.
Wow, yeah, that's really... You ran the entire marathon?
Yeah, I did the marathon in April for the Miscarriage
Oh, that's
Association
amazing.
because I was desperate to do something positive,
Yeah.
and just have something else to think about rather than what had happened. And you just think about the marathon for months and months and months. And the other source of support was actually my running club. I'm the slowest runner you could possibly see, and at the moment I'm not doing as much running as I did, but when I was training and running, they were immensely supportive. They'd go out on training runs with me. They organised fundraising breakfasts and were really, really supportive.
That's really, really good to hear. It sounds like you've got a good support network through the running group.
Yeah, it takes time to build up because you're tempted just to sit in the house and not talk to anyone. Then finally, when you do open up, even if it's just a little bit, then you just feel that you've got a little bit more support. And I'm much more stricter with myself now. The old me would go to every christening, every baby shower, whereas now I'm a little bit more choosy.
Yeah.
Just because you think, well, do I have to go to that? Can I arrange something else separately? Could I do this? So I don't tend to put myself in big situations that I find are going to be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I guess it's learning to say no to stuff like that. And I suppose any good friend would understand why you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, my friends are really, really understanding, and we kind of compromise and say, well, actually, would you like to meet for a drink at this time, or would you like to do such and such at that time, so that they don't feel that we're just ignoring them.
Yeah, that's good. So you can sort of strike a balance of seeing them but not doing anything that's sort of going to be mentally exhausting for you.
And I'm more open to speaking about things now. I don't sort of openly advertise, but I think you've got to be a little bit more open about things, and so that people know that it's not just them sitting in the bedroom thinking that's it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. What kind of advice would you give to anyone else who's going through similar issues on how they can cope in the same ways that you did?
I would say definitely try and exercise, even if you're going through treatment. And I'm not saying go to the gym and do a flat out workout, but go for a walk, go for a run, or whatever it is you do, a swim or yoga. I think that's one of the most important things. Try and keep to whatever routine you had, so that, because I suppose if you just dropped everything, you kind of feel a bit lost and a bit strange. So I've always tried to keep to a routine if I can. Also, on the other side, if you feel that you are struggling, then never feel that you can't take time off or that you can't stop, even if you just have an hour here or an hour there. You've got to put yourself first.
Yeah, I think that definitely sounds like good advice.
And if things work for you, I mean, being a nurse, chocolate and cookies have been my backbone for years and years, even when I used to work on the ward years ago and work nights and things. So I still have a lenience that if I'm having a really bad day, and I know we're meant to all be eating fruit and veg, but yeah, a nice cookie or a bit of chocolate just to sort of change the scene and make you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it's good to treat yourself now and then, isn't it?
And the other sort of things, I was sat there yesterday, and my husband was driving back from Wales, and I thought, what other things? So yeah, I said, try and talk to people if you can. If occasions are too much, don't go. Try and build new things into your life or something, a project or a goal as a little distraction. So for me, it was the marathon, and then we got a dog. So even if it's just little things, set a challenge. I want to decorate my room next door, or I'd want to redo the garden, or just little things to keep your mind occupied so that it isn't continuously thinking about the next cycle of treatment or the next medications or things like that.
Yeah, that sounds like, definitely good advice. Is there anything else that you want to say about your journey in general?
I think my journey is quite unique, but I think being able to talk about it means that if there was someone else, that they would be able to say, oh, this such and such happened, or this happened, and really to reassure people that they're not alone. And the more we talk about it, the more people are going to have the knowledge. And I'm really, really passionate about employers doing more to support women in this situation, because they've often worked for their company for years and years and worked many, many hours. So a little bit of flexibility sort of on either way. So that's mainly something I'm really passionate about, getting the awareness out.
Yeah, and I think with this interview today, like I think we've done a great job of talking about it, and sort of once this will go on our website, then hopefully people who are going through the same thing will be able to read it, just get some comfort from it, knowing that there's someone that's been through the same thing and learned to manage it.
And I know a lot of patients find it difficult if their manager's a man or they're completely uninformed, but sometimes you just have to sort of say, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to organise, and give them the chance to be supportive. But as I say, I hope that by raising awareness, more employers are supportive.
Yeah, we hope that as well. That's one of the things that we're most passionate about, is sort of like employer understanding of these kind of issues.
Definitely, because you can't always see the issue, so you don't always walk in and you've got your arm in plaster or whatever. You can't always see it, so you think, oh, everything's fine, no problem. But it doesn't mean to say that that's the case.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Well, thank you for speaking to us. It's been really nice to have this.
No problem. And if you need to speak to me again or have any questions, you've got my contact details. And good luck with everything. And I look forward to reading the interview in a couple of months' time.
Okay. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast by Feminine Vitae. If you'd like to find out more about the different conditions we've covered and learn more about how to improve menstrual and reproductive wellbeing, please visit our website, femininevitae.co.uk.